Welcome to the Top 200 podcast with your host, Herschel Florin.
Welcome everyone to, it's supposed to be the Monday morning meeting, but man, I got sick yesterday, so I couldn't do it yesterday, and yeah, so this is going to be a late one. It's going to be late, but I was still going to talk about everything. The rankings are still going to be out, and we'll just carry on with what goes on. And it's pretty interesting how things went. Like this week is, this is 100% why rankings change. It's just one of those things that, that you kind of have to do anyway. The rankings are supposed to supposed to measure progress within the year and longevity of teams and the way that they play and perform and come ready for games and things like that. So, that's what's supposed to happen. And I think it's supposed to keep teams honest and be able to perform week in and week out kind of situation, and so and obviously I'm talking about Southland boys, Southland boys losing. Obviously the reason why I ranked them so high in the top 10 was because their preseason against King's College and Christchurch boys, they won both of them. I really don't care too much for who was there, who wasn't there, who was playing and who wasn't playing, all that kind of stuff. But it was really kind of a, I don't think it's like a wake up call, because it's just but it does put everyone on edge that you do have to play every single game and keep that intensity up, regardless of what ranking you have on my list and where you sit on my list and where you sit in the rankings in terms of national rankings around the country, is that you still have to perform. Carlson boys start as the number one team, start the year this week against St. Kitts, which is going to be on TV, and such a massive game on TV too, and they could lose. Or they could come together as a team and let's start the season off right, hold that number one position, and start this 1A off tournament the way that they think that they should, and that's by winning against St. Kitts. And so, is it added pressure? I guess so. I guess depends the way that you take it, but even without the ranking, it's added pressure to win anyway, because you still have to front up to your schoolmates and stuff like that come Monday morning, and front up to yourself, I guess, when you reflect on the games afterward. And so I guess it's just one of those things that, having those ranking systems around and being able to front up to them is one of those challenges. But then you've got to look at John McGlashan as well on that side, and such a good game too. It really was a good game. Because people message me and say, well, how do you rank Southland boys so high as John McGlashan so far back, but they lose? And I was like, well, and I tell everyone the same thing, is just the distances between a lot of the teams are only 1 point, 2 points, 5 points, things like that are easily changeable within an actual functioning game that is played, because a lot of people know that one bad start to a game, you can have a kickoff and someone score within the first. Look at the Highlanders game was the same way. They scored right in the first 30 seconds, and that could change something so drastic in a game. Like the rankings system, sort of that doesn't. I don't try and predict that stuff. That's going to happen. Like, oh, this guy's got to score 3 tries. I was like, I don't know that stuff. I just look at a roster and go, well, the potential of this because of this guy, and this guy. That's how I predict these rankings in these games. I don't predict what's going to happen. Like, I don't know who's going to, kick 7 penalties and win the game just straight off penalties. That's not what I try and predict. So like it's just things like that. But that intensity of the John McGlashan forward pack to me is what really won them. There was the start of them of getting them into that game and making sure that they weren't losing the ruck and weren't losing their possession and fighting back when Southland boys try to fight back, and like guys like what's his name, Zach Taylor and Withy and like all these guys that were in Southland boys who were really solid, national kind of players, just couldn't answer it, and it just happens like that sometimes. Those are just kind of things that you can't control, and rugby is one of those games that you just have to be good on the day, regardless of what your ranking is that you just have to win on the day. You got no other excuses. It's not the it's not the NBA, like, because my Jazz are the best in the country and the world right now, so I'm pretty happy about that, but you still have to win 7 games, and more than often than not, and like the best team is going to win the best of the 7 games. Like the losing team's not going to do it. That's why they have it that way. But rugby is different, and you just have to win every single game. So like that was like one of those games that I watched this week. I watched the New Plymouth and Francis Douglas one as well, which was also one of those kind of games too. And forward dominated and really was a strong battle by Francis Douglas, and I believe Francis Douglas had it and just weren't finishing it off. New Plymouth couldn't even make it out of their half for most of the first half. They couldn't even get out. And Francis Douglas had 4 opportunities, I think I counted, like 4 real opportunities to score. And even the try that they scored was of an intercept, which was like, those are just one of those things that just comes off. But like, once that they set themselves up to score, they weren't able to finish that. And it was that first half that, to me, was, they could have put them away. And it's funny too, because I was kind of thinking about it after, and I was like, man, if Francis Douglas even scored 2 of the 4 opportunities, the real opportunities that they had, and came away with 3 tries, including that interception, just those kind of scenarios, is that they could have embarrassed New Plymouth boys. And New Plymouth boys play tomorrow against Auckland Grammar, which I'm thinking about driving down. I'll either drive down to the one tomorrow, or I'll drive down to the one against Silverstream. Maybe Silverstream because they're far away, and I'll see Auckland Grammar again this year anyway. But it could have been a really bad day for New Plymouth boys if Francis Douglas actually finished off those opportunities, even 2 of them. But with such a young team that Francis Douglas have, they managed to play a lot more mature than I thought they would, and I was so impressed with like the way that they handled stuff going into that game too, because all the stars are on the other side. Like Shea, to me, Shea saved them a lot. And he's done this for a few games now, and I still 100% think he should be a hooker. I think he should be a hooker, and I think that if he moves to hooker, even if it's just for reps, because I know that, you have to have like, you have to have guys in your team that can fill in positions, and he may be the best number that they have. But when it comes to the Chiefs, I feel like the Chiefs should throw him in at hooker and just add the extra stuff. I actually believe that he should be a New Zealand secondary school hooker if he moves to hooker. that's one of those things that it's a maybe. It's not 100%, but just watching the way that he plays, it's like, yeah, his stature and style as well. He's quick. He's real fast. The way he hits that ball up is so hard. Like he drags tacklers. I've never really seen him. Even last year was kind of the same too. I always thought that even last year that, but I didn't see hooker in sort of his. I thought it was like, oh, maybe, but this year I actually think, no, yeah, he should move to hooker. But I've never seen him get hit and then sort of go straight to ground. He always fights for those extra meters, or he fights to get us like in league where you sort of try and turn your head and your body and position it to go forward. Like that's kind of what he does, even when he takes shoulder hits and rolls off, or he tries to bring his arms forward out of the tackle so they're not sort of pulled back and all that kind of stuff. And so it's pretty cool the way that he was. But he saved them a lot in that game and got them forward as well. And a lot of the time, if I think it wasn't for him and Peter Tikahu was the other one, and so I kind of think that if it wasn't for them a little bit, that they would be, it would have been a pretty bad score and or just a harder game for them. So it was just one of those things, and that's just stuff that I was thinking about when I was watching the games and sort of thinking about all the games that I watched this week. I was thinking, man, he was just one of those guys. Because I always like put all the games that I watch. I always sort of like make my own team of the week. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I should start doing my own team of the week and just put it out and just like, these are the guys that I watched, all the games that I watched, and these are the top 22 guys that if I was to make a team for this week, or the top performers, stuff like that. I probably will. But yeah, those were two of the games that I really liked this week, or that I watched this week anyway. But the Hamilton game, I watched that one. Beating Mags, I watched the Nelson one as well. I mean, everyone was kind of safe in that top 10. Even the St. Paul's one, which was a really good game too, and them beating Lindisfarne, and Lindisfarne is such a good team and young, and I hope they start winning some games because they really deserve it in the way that they've prepared for the season. I feel like they deserve some of those wins, and I think and it's going to come because they've had some really hard games, and just the fine tuning kind of stuff. I watched the Hastings Silverstring game, which was I mean, I thought Hastings was going to win. I got to start putting out my predictions so that everyone can hold me to my predictions. But I thought that Hastings was going to win. I just didn't think it was going to be by that much. And I didn't think Silverstream was bad. I just thought Hastings sort of lifted themselves again. And they've done it, obviously, with their win against St. Kennigan's last week as well. They've obviously done a lot of work, and the boys are buying into everything. I mean, Scots College was the same. I didn't watch this game, but Gisborne, only winning by 1 point over Gisborne boys. Whether they're trying to try different things before the actual season starts, all I know is that Gisborne boys have stepped up in a big way from what they've done in the preseason, and I think that they should. I think if Gisborne continue sort of down the same road that they're going in right now, the Super 8's going to be, I guess, a lot better because they've got a lot of boys that have already returned back from last year, and they all played full seasons last year, and so they should all be, sort of well versed in how this level is and what is expected. They do have some really young guys in there, like the first 5 is a year 11, and they've got a year 10 in there at second 5. just some young boys, but that locking group with Max and that is like, I like that. Nathaniel and that up front with Matariki and forgetting the other boy's name, but Charlie Mathis and Ben Phillips and those guys on the side, like those guys are all guys that are right there, I guess ready for that level, and so they should all step up. And if this is the starting game for them stepping up, this is a really good one for them to be a part of, to be able to lift up to, because Scots College is not a joke at all. Like, they're such a good squad, and we've seen them on TV already, so it's not like it's a secret. But yeah, that's a pretty good start by them, even though they lost. It's like that 1 point and getting that close is a massive improvement, but also a lot of positivity as well, being able to bring that stuff out of them in those kind of games. I didn't watch the stat game, but 54-13 is pretty standard. I really like Palmy. I really like Palmy as a team, and the way that they played as a team. I was thinking, like, because of last year's what they had lost last year, I was kind of worried about sort of X Factor kind of thing. I mean, like Elijah and Raymond and that all left, and Logan and that. So, and even with Lofa going too. After seeing them yesterday's game, I just thought, far out, this team is an actual team, like everywhere around the field, and they didn't really have their usual captain playing. There were about 4 guys that I recognised that weren't actual starters that were playing yesterday, so it's going to be a massive boost when those guys come back, especially Leo Gordon, who is one of the bigger second fives around the country, and I think is their captain. I think he's the actual captain this year. But he's going to be one of those monstrous kind of guys too that I think is going to be a guy to watch out for this year in the midfield as well, and he could push for New Zealand's too. He's such a smart player and even a heavy runner, but is not he doesn't lean on that himself. Like he's still got a lot of stuff that he does and that he offers to the team. Really good defensive player too. I like the way that he plays defense. I think I watched the St. Bede's and Christ College game, which I think was probably the hardest game of the week that I watched, and the back and forth that those two teams had, I thought was pretty massive, and my write up is on that as well. I didn't watch Napier Rongotai. I saw the Christchurch boys one, which was good. Napier beating Rongotai 17-0 and Christchurch winning 33-15 over Marlborough boys. And Christchurch look like the team that's getting it together, so it's going to be pretty interesting if they can get everything going. Then how sort of they grow throughout the year, game after game, is going to be... Because I have Nelson as the best team right now in that competition. And I think that they're sort of maybe a step ahead of everybody. And even with St. Andrews and St. Bede's, even Marlborough's not that far, and Timaru boys as well. I still have Nelson up there, but Christchurch is always a good working kind of program that just as the year goes on, they just get better and better. And so, don't be surprised if they start moving up the ranks as the weeks go on, kind of thing. So they're one to look out for. Massive score by Timaru boys, saying it before, 54-14 over the Selwyn combined team, or Lincoln combined, which they used to be. I was actually kind of disappointed at the Otago Dunstan. Like, I'm not saying that Dunstan should be on that Otago boys level, but I expected Dunstan to score some points and for it not to be so high that, Otago scored 66 points. I actually thought Dunstan would get around 15 to 20 points and probably hold Otago to about 40 points. Because Dunstan's not bad. They're really not bad. And this is I think this might be one of those things where it becomes more of losing it before you get on the field because of who they are. Otago is the team down there. Most years that you want to beat. And so maybe that's what they go through a lot of the times, those schools down there, is that the confidence is already, a little bit shot because, of who they're playing. But I don't know, I just kind of expected a lot more from Dunstan and what they did. King's High School won against St. Kevin's 41-13, which is pretty standard of what I thought. I'm trying to get this game, the Takapuna and Westlake boys game, because I really want to watch that. I thought Takapuna would do a lot better than that. And I thought Takapuna would probably be in that position to push Westlake boys. But, 47-3, it's just not the kind of scoreline that you want, especially with a side that Takapuna has. I just thought they would be better than that. Rangitoto losing to Orewa College 34-11 was kind of a surprise. Not a surprise that they won, just a surprise at the scoreline being so far away. I didn't think that was going to happen. Whangarei boys winning, I kind of picked that one that was going to happen against Rosmini. And Manurewa winning 41-17 over Massey, which I heard, and I got told about it, how good the game was. And, just the high level, I guess, of talent that was on that field too, because Manurewa is such a talented side. And then Massey's got some good young fellas coming up, some heavy Year 12 guys that I kind of like as well, and that I'm sort of watching out for. Because I want to go and see Massey this year live and then see what these boys actually look like and sort of feeling that they have on the field. And because I always like going down and listening. That's why I like going to games. I like listening to what players say and listening to how they react and who are the ones that are talking and keeping their positive energy up, even when they're down. Like, I don't like teams that start messing around and laughing and joking on the field because they're getting smoked. I like the guys that are just like, well, let's just win this next possession. Let's string 3 phases together. Let's try and get into this part of the field and just take it with these little victories at a time. Not go, let's try and win this game when you're 30 points down. It's just that's not the attitude that that's not what I kind of look for in players or when I listen to them. It's I want to hear the guys say, let's just have a good sequence in this, and then let's hold them to this, or let's start pushing them back and forcing pressure on them, and let's try and turn it around with a few phases, and let's get some of our moves going, when we can. Let's, things like that. I'm never one of those is let's win the game, and you're just well, we're 41 down, bro. I'm not one of those movie moment kind of guys. It's just let's just take this one thing at a time, win these little battles, and then see how we can get. And if we score tries, it's cool. Now let's start again and let's start working at these little ones again. I like that kind of stuff. And so that's why I like to going to games, and I like listening to what guys say and how they react. And I want to see how, especially Year 12 players, I like listening to Year 12 players and seeing who all these sort of future leaders for the next year and how they are now, and how they react to instructions and to being a follower of whoever your captain is and what he's asking you to do. And I like those kind of guys too. Big win by Rathkill College over Hastings, St. John's Hastings, which I thought was going to be a St. John's Hastings win. I wouldn't have picked Rathkill for that, but good on them for winning that game. I'm going to watch that game today. I'll be watching that game today and just having a look and seeing how things went. the Whanganui Collegiate and St. John's Hamilton was so one-sided and so surprising at how one-sided it was seeing that scoreline. So, I don't know. St. John's is going to sort of have to group together and sort of just rethink what's going on and pick it up. But surprising, it really was surprising. Even when I wrote about it, like I thought that St. John's would really battle with them. Really battle with them and how it was going and how it was going to go this Saturday. But just judging from that scoreline, it's like that's not a good position that you want to be in. Fielding being Francis Douglas is not surprising. I mean, if Francis Douglas had such a massive game early that week and double up on the week on two hard games, it's like you can't really expect anyone to win both of those games. That's just such a hard ask for them to do that. And both games, they kept really, really close. 17-10. Like, I give it up to Francis Douglas for being able to go back to back like that and in the same week and keep both games really, really close. But yeah, I guess that's just one of those things that you have to do. And when you're, when the school's scheduling stuff is just like, well, you got to fit in your traditions. You got to be able to ask the boys to do this and that. And so those are the things that happen. But Francis Douglas, they look, and in all honesty, they look better than what I expected them to be like this year. They really do. They really look a lot better than what I thought. Matamata College won this week 15-10 over St. Paul's Collegiate. Second 15, Cambridge lost to Hamilton Boys High. Second 15, 7-19. Te Aomori College won against Tokoroa High School, which is I didn't think 59-0. I didn't think it was going to be like that. Tikawiti won over Hamilton Boys Blue, and these are all grading games too. Like Rototuna High School 45-13 over St. John's, third 15. Yeah, these are all like grading games here in Hamilton and Waikato. They probably only mean stuff to like me and other guys that are from here. Kaukararoa is they lost to Patararu. Patararu is such a good country school. Even like ones like Taumaranui and that, and Otorohanga and that, they have always got these guys who are the team as a whole may not be as great, but then their diamond in the rough guys are they're the top players, and they just need to be in different programs for them to shine. Like there's a halfback first five in Otorohanga who's really, really good. There's another kid in Taumaranui who's a fullback that is just really sharp. A number 8 in that Kaukararoa team as well. The number 8 from there, who probably should be a prop, but he'll be this big mobile prop who's a big ball carrier. He's another kid. There's a lock at Rototuna High School. I think if he's still there, I've got to check if he's still there, but he's there too. Te Aomori, there's this lock there, their captain. Emery, who's 6'6", I think, skinny. I actually expect him to be in the under 18 Chiefs. Hopefully, if they give him a shot. And so, there's always guys like that around in these smaller schools, and their best players are just, they really should be in Super 8 teams and 1A teams and CNI teams and stuff like that. But they just choose. Some of them just choose to stay. Or some of them just not found. Some of them just don't know that they're there. I mean, that's why recruiting is important sometimes, because some kids that want to leave, that take rugby serious, not like their schoolmates, they're the ones that want to leave but don't know how to or don't know how to go about it. That's why I'm here sometimes, is that I'll be like, yeah, I'll find you and I'll contact you and your parents and, see what's up and see where you want to go and, what's going on. Taupo Nuiotea is like another one too. Like Cares, their captain, Cares, he's a big prop. He probably, to me, should have moved when he was year 11 or year 12 last year. Who's a big prop, made under 17 Chiefs. didn't make under 18 Chiefs last year. He should probably push for under 18 Chiefs this year. And he's a big, solid prop. They have a number 8, or number 6 or number 8. I think his name is Chase Williams, I think it is. Who would be a really solid hooker. Really solid hooker as well for one of the bigger teams. He could either start or come off the bench, but he deserves to be in these higher grades. And there's a lot of those kind of guys around. Even guy like and Tupou Nuiatea, they won this week too, over John Paul College. Who I want to see John Paul College this year. Like I've always known about them. I don't know that much about them all the time, and I guess most of the better players that from those schools, especially in Rotorua, is that most of them go to Rotorua Boys after a while, and they think, we're just going to move from here because you're not going to, make much of it if you're going to stay at John Paul. But I mean, like Trident's another team that won over the weekend against against Tauranga Boys second 15, which is a big win, 19-6. And Trident, I feel like, is the stronger team in that Bill Hill Cup division in Bay of Plenty. Katikati College as well, 27-13 over the Rotorua Boys Colts team, and then Te Taumata is the other team. I think that's a combined team, right? I got to check on that. But they won against Mount Maunganui College 17-12. And Mount Maunganui College is trying to build a sports academy there for basketball. I think was the other main focus, with building a rugby academy as well. I think that's I think that's the place where they're trying to do it. And I'll have a look and see what's up, because I mean, I guess if you have the coaching facilities and the funds and all that kind of stuff, and then you can get kids to come over to your schools, it's like, then why not, right? Ultimotea Tai College beat Papamore College 79-0, and they probably should be up in that first division. And that's kind of where, like, when I do rankings, is that, like, I don't do rankings on what you did last year, because to me, last year, I never care about in terms of what you did. I care about who's returning. And Ultimotea College is probably one of those teams that has a lot of guys back. I know 4 of the guys from that team from last year, but I don't know if they actually returned. So I probably got to do a lot more homework on who they have there, and seeing what guys and in what positions came back, because that might be a team to look at. They probably should be up in that higher division. Even Te Puke High School, who beat Tarawera High School as well, 64-5. It's just too much of that's too big of a score. Whakatane College as well. Whakatane High School beat Tauranga Boys under 16's blue team, which you don't really know. They always have like these blue and white teams of, we don't know which one's the better team, which is the main under 16s or the second under 16s, and all that kind of stuff. But maybe they got to do something about that. And I don't know, maybe it's just trying to get teams into to play into those divisions and stuff like that. It's usually kind of how it goes. Harwood High School beat Inglewood. Now this is in Taranaki in their Bailey's first 15 competition. Harwood beat High School beat Inglewood High School 48-5. Now Harwood High School is actually a really good high school this year, with a lot of returning players that were heavy in that under 16s Taranaki team from last year. And so this team just needs a lot of games. I wish I actually contacted them last year and then try to sort out some good games against some of the bigger teams to get them ready for the season. because that I feel like that's what they need, is that they need harder games to sort of test them out. I know that they played against New Plymouth boys, but maybe that's a bit too high. I would have put them against maybe St. John's, Hamilton or Hastings, because like Whanganui High School is like another good side this year as well, in a small area, and they probably should have played off against them, you know. And I mean, obviously travel and time and money and all that kind of stuff goes into it too, but you know, if I could have lended a hand and then finding them some good competition games that they could really test themselves out, and you know, I would have loved to help them out with that kind of stuff. The Wellington competition, they're still going for grading games. This is the second round. I watched the Wellington College game, which was really good, and Aotea College was a bit better than what I thought they were going to be. But Wellington College won 43-29, and I'm glad that they're starting to win. Upper Hutt High School beat Mana College 12-14. I kind of wish that those two didn't match up now. I was hoping that they probably would have matched up this coming week, because both teams are pretty good, and I think they just need a little bit of time to gel together. Puritua College beat Kapiti College 26-5. Tawa College beat Hutt Valley High School 36-0. Hibs beat Nainai College 46-14, and St. Bernard's beat Taita College 64-10. And then Wairarapa won by default over the Wainuiomata High School, which I heard that they're really struggling, and I hope it's, you know, they're all good, because they always have some pretty good players over there in Wainui, and so yeah, I hope that they fix it up and get things right and all that kind of stuff. But Waimea Combined, this is down in Christchurch. Waimea Combined, they beat Mid Canterbury, which is a game I actually want to watch. If someone can please send me the game, I'll be pretty keen to watch that game. They beat them 27-26. Waimea won that 27-26. Shirley Boys went down to St. Thomas. That TV game on Sky, which was really a good one to watch too, and was a pretty even, I thought was an even game, and it just fell off a little bit. Even when I thought Shirley had control of it, it just didn't. I don't know how you kind of explain it, because it wasn't like finishing. Like, they just had these big outbreaks that I thought were going to go and turn into points, and just it's like they couldn't make that third and fourth push, and then it just kind of fizzled out, and then St. Thomas would come back. But yeah, I loved watching that game and seeing all the new players that they all have running on this year, and so I'm pretty keen to follow both of them this year as well. And then the Otago Combined losing, and this is down in Otago. Otago Combined losing to South Otago High School, which was I guess predictable, 55-8. Otago Combined's got to do something though. I mean, I think they just need help. I mean, they got enough schools in the range of which that they can pull from, and they should have a more decent team than what they've had in the last couple of years. And so I hope they start getting it together, and I hope those under 15s start feeding them through, and you know, just finding some really good players between all those schools, because they should have something good going on. Waitaki Boys beating Wakatipu High School 59-12, which I didn't think was that big of a. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a score, but Waitaki Boys have a big forward pack. They have a big forward pack. I think they're pretty new as well. A lot of the players on that team. Not a lot of caps on that team. I thought Wakatipu was going to do a bit better than that. But I mean, if Waitaki Boys is out here firing this year, then it'll be pretty cool to see how they go this year. And Mount Aspiring College is another one that I really like too. And so it's going to be pretty cool to see what they do this year in that competition too. They beat the Otago Boys second 15 19-0, which is not always a given in that down in that area, and so it's cool to see some of these teams lifting a lot more in that area. in that region as well. There's going to be some massive games coming up this week. They start tomorrow. Oh, actually, no, there's a game today. Is it Whited Uppers playing today? I got to double check that. But yeah, I think there was a game today. They start today on Monday, and then then tomorrow there's the Auckland Grammar New Plymouth Boys one, and then there's all the rankings will be out tonight, and then all the games will be out tonight as well. So look forward to that. And then the top 100 year 12s is going to change tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, the top 200 is going to change. And then next week, the year 11, top 60 year 11s is going to change next week. And these are going to be the first changes of all those rankings. Okay, so obviously the first rankings was based on what everyone was like last year and what everyone did last year and sort of the potential that they're going to have this year. So if there's going to be a bunch of changes that are coming up, that's usually where it happens is in that first two changes is where the majority of the big changes come to the top 200 and mainly to the top 200, because then now I get to see exactly who and I've pretty much seen everybody I've seen at least 75 teams this year. I've seen them twice. Some I've seen 4 times, 3 times, but I've at least seen everybody twice in some way, even with some of those 1B and Northland teams. I've seen either highlight clips or cut down highlight games. And so it's been really good that people are sending me more games and more clips and adding me to their huddles and stuff like that, and so it's been really good, and thank you for all of that stuff. But I love that rugby's back on. I really do. I love that rugby's back on. I love the rugby that I've seen, and it's gonna be another good year. Everybody make your goals, set your goals for what you want to achieve this year, and just keep pushing it. Win these little battles first. And I'm sure that, at the end of the year, you're going to come closer and closer to your main goal of what you want to do. Be realistic about what you want to do as well, and then work through to it. No one else stops you but yourself, so get yourself in check. And then, get your goals, man. Everyone get your goals, and I'll see you guys out there on Saturday. I still haven't selected the game that I want to go to this week. Like I said, with the New Plymouth game, I might go to this one tomorrow, or I'm going to go to the Silverstream one, most likely Silverstream, because I'll be able to see them. I won't be able to see them again until later in July, August, or something like that when I go down there. And then I might go and see I'm thinking about some North Harbour teams this week, and maybe a 1A game, depending on who. But there'll be one too that I want to look for. And then I got some midweek games next week. If you guys have midweek games that I haven't put down, please tell me that you have midweek games, and so I can sort of plan to come to those games as well. Just to get me out of my daughter's dancing and stuff too. I hate going to those things. But yeah, everybody have a good week. Peace.